You're listening to my cousin DLils on
It's DLils, you rockin' with hip hop and home runs. We don't criticize pros, man, it's all fun. Urban media, yeah, we talking sports, debating issues, spitting game on and off the court. It's hip hop and home runs.
Hip Hop and Home Runs.com.
This is DLils. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hip Hop and Home Runs.com. Football's here. I mean, we're here, folks. Finally, it's that time of year again. We're back. It's a lot of stuff to go over. I'm only going to get to a bit of it because we're still trying to get through our AFC predictions, and we're jumping into the NFC later this afternoon. So I'm going to get right into it. Talk of the day is about RG3. That's what I want to talk about first. So, you know, I haven't been a big fan of Gruden from the jump. It's been very evident that if you watch anything on the Washington Redskins over the past year and a half, you would know that Jay Gruden does not like RG3 for any particular reason. Whether it's not his ideal style of quarterback, whether he just doesn't believe he can run his offense, whatever the case may be, he hasn't been getting it done. And particularly for Jay Gruden. So he announced this week RG3 would no longer be the starter, and this is Kirk Cousins' team to lose your third round draft pick for Michigan State. So, you know, again, if you guys know anything about me, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know how I feel about the NFL when it comes to them conspiring against, I don't even know if that's a word, conspiring against the, you know, what I call the black quarterback in today's NFL. And if you think about it, and you think about all the prominent black quarterbacks right now, they're all kind of suffering, so to speak. And I don't mean financially. I mean suffering in the grand scheme of things as far as success in the NFL. You know, the most successful black quarterback out there right now, most likely Cam Newton, just lost his best target, and Calvin Benjamin for the season. If you watched that game the other night, you know, no one could catch a pass from Cam Newton. He looked really sharp out there. But I say all that to say that it's not a good day for black quarterbacks when the number 2 overall pick 3 years ago is about to find himself out of a job. Obviously, RG3's talented. He's a 100-meter sprinter, Olympic speed. So I don't think the issue here has to do with his talent. It has to do with his mentality. I think he's been coddled a little bit. You know, you give him a statue outside of Baylor University. These type of things can happen to a young black man who just went so far and so fast. So, you know, I have an issue with that. But when you look across the NFL and you see people like Jay Cutler, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, Alex Smith, all people who may have 3 combined playoff wins, there's no reason why RG3 shouldn't get another opportunity elsewhere. Not when you have mediocrity, saturated mediocrity in the NFL and Phillip Rivers. A whole lot of teams have quarterbacks who just have high statistics who don't actually get dubs out here. So there's no real reason. If RG3 does not get another opportunity similar to how Vince Young was handled in the NFL, then I'll be certain that my theory is right about the NFL and black quarterbacks, and my conspiracies would then indeed be proven true. So let's keep a close eye on RG3. You know, I want to talk about my basic offensive, defensive MVP, who I'm going with this year. So I want to start out with my NFL dark horse team, Minnesota Vikings, by any means. Adrian Peterson coming back healthy. You have Teddy Bridgewater, who has a firm grasp of Mike Zimmer's playbook, and teams will no longer be able to stack that box with Mike Wallace and Cordell on the outside and the young guy Jarius Wright. Just tons of talent. I expect the Vikings to be, if not top 3 team in the NFC this year. They definitely will win the NFC North. And I'm even more confident now that Jordy's out. Minnesota's division to lose. With that being said, defensively, have always been question marks in Minnesota. I like what they're doing out there, drafting Anthony Barr, getting these young corners developing. They brought in Terrence Newman. I like the mixture of guys they got, and they have a defensive-minded coach. I'm sorry, Minnesota has winning written all over them. I'm going with Minnesota as my NFL dark horse team. Doesn't mean I think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think that they're going to be better. I think they're going to be playoff bound, and I think they're going to be a lot more valuable than people will anticipate them being this year, and a lot more successful. My Rookie of the Year award is going to go to the receiver out of Oakland, Amari Cooper. I think that you've already seen so far in preseason his ability to get open against NFL veteran corners, even with Dave Carr, or it's Derek Carr, I guess. Dave is his older brother, so he's shown the ability, even with the young quarterback, that he can be successful early on in preseason. He's already have an NFL body, no doubt in my mind. I'm not sold on Marcus Mariota, nor am I sold on Jameis Winston when it comes to NFL Rookie of the Year, just because they both are around shoddy offensive lines, and I think they're going to have some growing pains in their opening years. Especially both of those teams will be in the bottom of their division, most likely. Coach of the Year, at this point, I would have to say I'm giving it to Mike Zimmer. Again, I think Minnesota's going to do a complete 180 in terms of wins and win shares. Having a healthy AP, I don't think you guys understand how much that's going to make a difference and have an impact in the NFL this year. Totally expect the Minnesota Vikings to show off, and I think that the combination of the right attitude in Adrian Peterson with the heady, even kill guy like Teddy Bridgewater is going to really make Mike Zimmer look good. And I don't think they really have to do too much to make him look good because of the talent that they have. I think that they're destined to be successful, which means Mike Zimmer is going to be successful and most likely become Coach of the Year. You could throw out guys like Chip Kelly, and you could probably throw out there Quinn from Atlanta, and a couple guys here and there, but I think that overall Mike Zimmer will end up having the biggest impact on his roster from year to year. So my Coach of the Year is going to go to Mike Zimmer. I'm going to take a look ahead at playoff teams, and my Super Bowl pick right now in the AFC Championship, I think it's going to come down to continuity. Which team had the most continuity between last year and this year? Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens. Of course, the Baltimore Ravens have some injuries that they're a little concerned about early on in camp, but I think that once they get the right guys, they'll be able to have success over the season. Denver Broncos, I believe, will have home field advantage and end up defeating Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game to proceed to the Super Bowl 50. In the NFC, I think that the Giants are going to return. I mean, if you think about the NFC, the Giants are in the playoff discussion, if not the Super Bowl discussion, every 3 years. So this is another opportunity for Eli to, to come back to the spotlight. I think he'll just miss out on playing his brother in the Super Bowl, and I see the Vikings defeating the Giants in the NFC Conference Championship game, which means the Broncos will play the Vikings in Super Bowl 50. And I definitely think the Broncos and Peyton Manning will finally have that revenge and that sweet Super Bowl trophy at the end. So my pick, Denver over Minnesota in the Super Bowl. Tune in for my NFC North predictions in Swan's Corner coming up this week. It's Hip Hop and Home Runs.